When I tell you this is the best way to eat cauliflower, I absolutely mean it. Now, I may tell you a joke, but I promise you, I will never tell you a lie. And if you make cauliflower like this, you're going to be wanting to have fried cauliflower every single day. And I'm going to show you exactly how I made my fried cauliflower. Now, first thing I had to do was go ahead and get my cauliflower, and I'm going to go ahead and clean it off because I did have this cauliflower in the fridge for a couple of days. So it did start to go bad just a little bit. So I did go ahead and cut off the pieces that were going bad, put that to the side, and continue to go ahead and clean off my cauliflower. Make sure I use some cool water and just got in between there and got everything that I didn't want on there. If there was any icks and bits that I did not want off the cauliflower, we're going to go ahead and remove those. Once we remove those, we're going to pat it dry and set it to the side. Now it's time to work on the batter. For the batter, we have 2 bowls. One bowl we're going to use for our dry batter. Another bowl we're going to use for our wet batter. So for our wet batter, I used about 2 cups of flour. For the dry batter, I used about 1 cup of flour. Now it's time to go ahead and season it. I'm going to season them both the same. And first thing I'm going to do is start off with some paprika. After I get my paprika in there, I am going to go in with some onion powder and some garlic powder because you know I can't have one. I got to have both. Then we're going to go ahead and sprinkle in a little bit of Tony seasoning as well because I absolutely love Tony. So I'm always going to add me in some Tony seasoning. Now you can season this whatever way you like. These are just some of the seasonings that I like to use. I'm also going to go ahead and add in some complete seasoning as well because I feel like you have to have complete with whatever you're making. After I get that complete in there, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of Harlem garlic pepper in there, and that is going to be all the seasonings that I use. I'm going to mix everything up and make sure that my seasoning and my flour is blended all the way through, and you're just going to go ahead and evaluate if it looks seasoned. Does it smell seasoned? If not, you're going to add a little bit more seasoning. If not, we're going to go ahead on to continuing to make our wet batter. This is the dry batter right here. I went on ahead and seasoned that the same exact way, and I'm going to mix everything through and make sure everything is seasoned to my liking. Once I get everything seasoned to my liking, I am going to go ahead and get my pot, put my oil on so my oil could start coming to temperature because we're just about done with making our batter. Now to finish the wet batter, we're going to go ahead and add in some salsa water. But before we add in our salsa water, I did do a teaspoon of cornstarch and I did do a teaspoon of baking powder. Went on ahead and mixed that in there, and then it was time for me to add in some salsa water. Now I added it in until I felt like my batter got the right consistency. I didn't want it too thick and I didn't want it too thin. I was looking more for like a pancake consistency. So that's what I did. I added in little bit by little, and I continued to mix and stir until it became what I was looking for. This process did take me a little bit longer than what I expected, but it definitely was worth it because you want to make sure you have that right consistency. You don't want your batter too thick and then it's not cooking properly, and then you don't want your batter too thin to where it's not holding on to the vegetable or whatever it is you're trying to batter, and then it just falls off into your oil. So you definitely want to make sure you get the right consistency. Also, you can use the same method and the same batter for if you're doing other items like chicken. You can do it with shrimp. You can do it with fish. You do not only have to do this with cauliflower. It's definitely something that you can do with other proteins. So finally, after I got my batter to my liking, I went on ahead and that man started adding in the cauliflower. First, he went on ahead and dipped it in the dry batter. Then he went on ahead and dipped it inside of the wet batter. Once he got it inside of the wet batter and everything was evenly coated, it was time to go ahead and drop it right into the oil because the oil is nice and hot. So we're going to go ahead and start frying this cauliflower. Once your cauliflower is breaded, it should look just like that. We're going to go ahead and put it in the oil, and you want to make sure that you're getting it nice and crispy on both sides. So I fried mine for about 3 minutes on high on each side. Once it was done and it was time to flip it over, it was nice and golden brown, and I cooked that side on 3 minutes. Then it was time to go ahead, take it out, drain off any extra grease or extra oil that was on there. I did go ahead and get a sauce from the store. I did not make a homemade sauce, but you can go ahead and make any kind of sauce that you want with it. I prefer a chili sauce. I think that goes absolutely excellent with it, especially if you are like me and you love spicy food. A chili sauce with your fried cauliflower is going to be absolutely amazing. After everything was done, I decided that I wanted to add just a little something extra to it. So I went in the fridge and saw what I had. I had some bell peppers. peppers, and I had some onions. So I did go ahead and take out the red peppers, the green peppers, the onions. I had red onions, and I did saute those up. I was going to fry them, but I didn't have any more batter left, so I decided to just go ahead and saute them. Once they was done, it was time for me to go ahead and give everything a taste test because everything was smelling absolutely good, and I just couldn't wait to try this. Went on ahead and put those fried cauliflower on my plate. Some of them sauteed vegetables that I had, the peppers and onions. I went on ahead and heated up just a little bit of my sauce. I had me a little sweet chili sauce right there. And when I tell you, this was so good. This is